Oh my goodness, do I want to leave the meeting?
Hello, everyone. We'll just give everyone a sec to get their audio connected.
Chelsea, you've muted yourself.
There we go. I hit the mute all button. I didn't realize it muted myself too. So let me try that again. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along to join us at our Saving Money with Thermomix cooking class. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chelsea McGill. I'm a Thermomix Business Development Manager. I live in Bunyip in Victoria. And I've been with Thermomix for just over 4 years now. I've been a business development manager for coming up to a year. And I was a Thermomix consultant and team leader for 3.5 years before that. So I am here tonight with a couple of my wonderful team leaders that I'm very excited to be cooking with. And when they come on to cook for you tonight, they are going to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about them. But we are here tonight to show you how you can save money with a Thermomix. We know that the cost of living is increasing and groceries are getting more expensive, eating out as well, all of those things. And we know that the amazing Thermomix can really save you so much money. So we've picked a couple of our favorite dishes tonight, and we're excited to show you just how much money you can save with your Thermomix. I do have our beautiful limited edition sparkling black. It's called a sparkling black. I like to call it a textured black TM6 tonight. So you'll see 2 of those, and we do have 2 of our classic white as well. Now, if you do have any questions along the way, please pop them in the chat box. We do ask that you all stay on mute just because there are quite a lot of people in our Zoom room tonight, which is great. Thank you all for coming. But if you come off mute, it does cause quite a bit of background noise for other people. So please stay on mute, but we would love if you could please ask as many questions as possible using our chat box below. So I'd love if you could pop in the chat and let us know whereabouts are you watching from tonight, and do you currently own a Thermomix? Pop it in the chat box below for us and let us know. I'll just pop a little hello in the chat. If I can find the chat box, maybe Erin can also. There we go. Someone's popped a message in the chat. I can't find my chat box. Perfect. Thank you very much. So pop in the chat, let us know where you're from, and if you currently have a Thermomix. So we are going to get straight into it tonight. You're going to see me again. Whoa. Someone just started sharing their screen. All good. So you'll see me in a little bit, but we are going to cut over to Josie, and she's going to introduce herself and let us know what she's making tonight.
Hi guys, my name's Josie. So I am here in Launceston. I'm a Thermomix consultant. I've been one for 2 years, and have recently become a team leader in the last few months. So I have just come back from traveling around Australia. We've been in the caravan living for 3 months, and we took the Thermomix and absolutely loved it. And now we are all settled back in at home. So I'm going to be making butter tonight. So butter is a great one, not only for saving money, but for reducing weight. So when you're making butter, all you need is cream. And you can even use cream that's it's pretty much perfect for cream that has been in your fridge, that is at expiry or a little bit over. You can use that fine. And it's super simple. So we're going to get started, and I'll talk a bit about butter while we're going. So I have got Cookadoo on. It's a guided recipe. You can't really see the screen very well, but we're just going to start cooking. So first, we just need to add our butterfly whisk in. We're going to use this. And when you're making butter, you can also use it, often they'll have pure cream, which is what you use to make it. And that's going to be at the supermarket. Often it's on sale. So you can get, I got 4 for $1.80 yesterday. They were super cheap. So you can even freeze those and use them later to make butter. So that's a great way to reduce your cost. So pour it in your cream. Okay. So we've poured in 600 grams of cream, and we are just going to whisk that up now. So with our whisk, we're going to whisk that for at least 1 minute, speed 4. So we're probably going to need a little bit longer. And generally when you're making butter, the older the cream, the quicker it's going to separate. So what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to separate the butter solids from the buttermilk. So we're going to end up with some delicious butter and some buttermilk that's perfect for like pancakes or scones, anything like that. So we're just going to go like that. And I'm going to come over here. Oh. Can you still hear me? Oh, I don't know if I'm going to. So usually when you're making butter, I feel like it normally takes me about 3 minutes to make. And you can sort of start to hear the butter separate. So I made some today just to practice again. But you'll be able to hear it separate. So that's kind of the reason that you can have this butter that lasts for longer, because you're taking out the buttermilk, which is the stuff that is going to make your cream or your butter kind of go off. So you're removing buttermilk solids, buttermilk liquids. So you're just left with the butter. And then when you have the butter, oh, hang on. I need my whisk to put it down actually. So that should be good. So when you're separating, you're left with the butter, and that should stay in your fridge for around 2 weeks. And you can even freeze that as well. So we've done 1 minute, and that is not. Sorry. Oh no, my thing is on. So that is not long enough. I'm going to go, so you can go an additional 2 minutes after that. So I'm just going to go on speed 4 again. And so butter is obviously super expensive. I feel like I bought butter the other day and it was $7.50. So generally when you're making butter out of cream that you were otherwise going to throw out, or that was really cheap at the supermarket, you can save so much for there. And also with your butter, you can make so many different variations. So you can make like a garlic and herb butter. I always generally make like half of it just plain, so it's really great for baking. And then the other half, I'll put some olive oil in there and some salt and make like a delicious spreadable butter. Okay, I feel like we can start. Your Thermomix is starting to get like a little bit more wobbly, and I think you can tell that the solids are starting to separate. Yep. And it will start to flush, so you know that it's starting to separate. Okay. It's very separated. Let's have a look at that. Okay, and that's going to perfect. So yeah, you can start to hear it. So the more you make butter, the more you'll realize how easy it is to chop. So here we have got, and that was only like 1 minute plus 1 minute, 2 minutes. So I had a friend previously that told me that she used to make butter in her Thermomix. And I was like, what kind of 1950s world are we living in? And then you make it and realize how easy it is. And all from products that you're probably going to throw out. So here we've got our butter, and you can see the liquid is separated. And now using your simmering basket, we're just going to strain that off. So I'm just going to pour it into there. We're going to pour it out. Take your butterfly whisk out as well. And we're going to pour the rest of our butter in. And so now you want to wash your butter with some chilled water. And pretty much you can wash this, you can do this from 1 to 3 times. The more buttermilk you get off, I guess better it's going to last. So here we've got our buttermilk. So that's you can't really see it. But here is our buttermilk, which is going to be like a great serving for our pancakes. I've got some more in the fridge from previous butter I made. And here is our butter solid. So we are going to put that back there. Remove our butterfly whisk, separate it. And then we're going to add, can't see my Thermomix now. Now we're going to add 500 grams of chilled water. And then this is just going to clean it again. Add butter solids. And then we're just going to clean that again for 5 seconds. That's it. So I'm pouring our buttermilk into a little container. This is great. Even things like buttermilk fried chicken, I've got enough that I'm really keen to try that. That sounds super delicious. And here is our water and our butter. So I'm just going to rinse this again. And obviously, like, that water in there you cannot use. So just make sure you get as much of the water out as you can. Okay, so I'm going to drain that. Add your butter back in there. And here is our butter. So with this, I am just going to add in 50 grams or maybe a little bit less of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and make it a spreadable butter. So we can find some. So we'll add in, so just add in a little bit of oil. And this is probably my favorite. And so with this butter, it's perfect to freeze. Like, it will freeze for about 6 months or last in your fridge for about 2 weeks. So we are just going to mix that for 5 seconds. And here is our butter. I'm going to put that in a container, serve up, and we'll get to the next thing that we're cooking. Thanks for watching, and I will be back.
Thanks so much, Josie. Grace has just asked in the chat box, has anyone made butter before? Let us know. I'm a little bit like Josie when I first heard that you can make butter in a Thermomix. I just got a flashback to kindergarten when you stood there and, you shook the cream for so long to make it. So I love that you can make it in your Thermomix in such a short amount of time, and what a great way to reduce waste and bring down the cost of your grocery bill as well. Thanks, Josie. We'll see you again soon.
Easy.
And we're going to jump over to Grace.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Hopefully already you picked up some great tips with making butter and saving a little bit more money off your grocery bill each week. Tonight I'm going to be doing the pizza dough. Again, pop in the chat box if you have made pizza in your Thermomix before. And if you haven't, it is definitely one that you need to add to your repertoire because it is an absolute staple in our house. It's so easy. I forgot I just didn't introduce myself. I'm Grace. I'm from Hobart, based down in Hobart. So awesome that we can jump on Zoom and all be together from all over the country, which is so great. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to go into our recipe on Cookie Dough and go start cooking. Now, I've already preheated my oven and I'm going to be using our rose gold bakeware tonight with the liners. So I will not be needing to pre-grease a bowl or a tray. We're going to be warming our water up in our Thermomix. One thing I love about the Thermomix is the ability to heat. Especially things like water. In the past, I used to avoid making doughs because I could never get that water the right temperature for activating my yeast, or I would waste half of my water tank trying to empty the sink and get my water to the right temperature. So we're going to weigh in 220 grams of lukewarm water. And again, using the scales. We're going to go next and we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now, this is optional, but it does help with the activation of your yeast. So it is a good ingredient to include. We're going to add in 20 grams of fresh yeast or 2 teaspoons of dried yeast. So again, all into the bowl. With the yeast in particular, I like to do a circular motion around the blades so that I don't actually get all of my yeast clumping on top of my blades. Just a tip there. And because the water doesn't actually come up over your blade, so it can very easily not sit in that water and get activated. So we're going to insert the measuring cup, go next 20 seconds. I'm going to turn it to speed 2, and it's just going to mix it for 20 seconds for me. Oh, pizza bianca. I love pizza bianca. How many people have made that one? It's a delicious choice. We actually use pizza bianca a lot because it's a really quick dough to whip up. And I use it for things like if we don't have garlic bread for our spaghetti or Italian dishes, you can just pop a bit of garlic on top. It's a really versatile dish, bit of cheese and, play around with it. So I love if you haven't picked up already, I'm very passionate about dough, especially in the Thermomix, because it is one of those things that costs very little. You know, you've already got the pantry staples in your cupboards, so it costs you very little to actually make. I'm going to find my flour. Now you're going to use 400 grams of baker's flour. Now baker's flour actually has a higher protein content, which means your dough, as opposed to using a plain flour, your dough is going to have a lot more elasticity, which is going to be awesome, obviously, when making a pizza up. I use it for obviously all my breads as well. So we're just going to weigh that in. I'm actually going to get a spoon to do that because I feel like it's going to go all over my Thermomix. So weigh it. And again, the awesome thing about your Thermomix is you do not have to sift your flours before you pop them in. Many people love that feature. I vividly remember growing up as a kid, always making things with mum and having to do that sifting step. It's 30 grams of extra virgin olive oil in and a teaspoon of salt. And that is all you need to make the dough in your Thermomix. And I love, again, how it all just sort of clumps in. So we're going to go next, insert our measuring cup and lid. And now we're going to knead for 2 minutes in our Thermomix. Quick question, does anyone know how long 2 minutes of kneading in your Thermomix is equivalent to by hand? If you've been to one of my, or any of these demos, you've probably heard it before. Awesome, well done, great. 20 minutes, exactly. So guys, you're already saving yourself 18 minutes in the kitchen by letting your thermo do it in 2 minutes, which is absolutely amazing. Now, before we pass over, because I'm going to let this rest, pass over to someone else, just to give you some perspective, making pizza dough in your Thermomix costs you a total of $1.90. And then obviously if you're making pizzas for the family, add in the cost of whatever the toppings are. You could be making pizzas for the whole family for under $10. Think about how much you spend on pizzas as a family. I know down here pizzas are roughly between $20, $26, $27 per pizza. So you're thinking, you know, if you put that into perspective, some massive savings when you're making your pizzas from home. So we've got a minute left of kneading. And what we're going to do is once I've got the dough out, we're actually going to let it prove. Okay. Let it prove in our Thermomats. Hands up in the chat box. Who has the Thermomats? Let me know. They are one of my absolute favorite Mix Shop products. Again, if you have been to any of my demonstrations, you will hear me plug these things up easy because they are so versatile, especially for busy mums, working mums, you know, working people in general. It's a very effective way to use things like your cookie dough and your pizza doughs and not muck your bench up, which is awesome. So 22 seconds to go, and I've been standing here chatting to you. I absolutely love that with the Thermomix, the fact that you can step away from it and let Thermi do its thing. I also have one on the glider board. I've got the Beechwood as well. So it means when you're kneading dough, it honestly doesn't move anywhere on your bench, which is awesome. Again, if you have a glider board, let me know in the chat box. If you don't, it is definitely something worth investing in. It could potentially save your Thermomix from wobbling off the bench, especially when doing dough. Awesome. Love that some people have got the glider board. What was the question there? Can you roll dough up and freeze it for later? You absolutely can. You definitely can do that. And what I would recommend doing if you are to freeze your dough is to roll it out in the shape that you want it, freeze it flat, and then you've got it ready to pull straight out of the oven. And you don't have to wait for a big blob to do it. So that's done now. And one of the great things, as I said, about the Thermomats is they're so versatile. I'm just going to move a couple of these things so I've got a bit more room. Anyone who tells you that they can't get a Thermomix because they don't have bench space, I don't have a lot of bench space. This is pretty much all you can see. That's my dishes in the back. That obviously needs a little bit of attention. Bench space, you honestly need just enough for a chopping board, and your Thermomix fits on perfectly. So we've got our dough there. Look at that, all kneaded and beautiful, ready to go. Top tip when removing dough from your bowl is to give the blades at the bottom a little wiggle when you tip it upside down, because if you put your hand in, the blades are very sharp if you haven't noticed, and they could potentially cut your finger. My mother-in-law actually cut her finger when getting her dough out. So tip it upside down, give the blades a wriggle, and your dough will just drop straight out. There's one little piece left in there, which obviously I'll be able to see where the blades are and keep my fingers safe. So all you're going to do now is you're going to bring that together on your mat. I like to get it into a nice round ball. Okay, and when you've got it in a reasonable shape, you're just going to wrap it up in your Thermomix. So you don't need to worry about oil in a bowl to leave it to proof. You just wrap it up like a little parcel, like so. And then you're going to pop it in a warm spot to prove. So that's going to prove for a little while, and we're going to jump over to someone else.
Thank you so much, Grace. Isn't that wild to think, you know, we pay up to $25 to $30 for one pizza and then a couple of dollars for dough in your Thermomix. What a game changer. Fabulous. Thank you, Grace. We will see you again shortly, and we are going to head on over to Erin.
Hi guys, I am Erin. I'm Erin O'Brien. I'm Thermo Loving Mum on Instagram and Facebook. I've been with Thermomix. I first joined, coming up 3 years now. 3 years ago to earn myself a TM6. I had the TM5 before this one and decided I wanted to upgrade. I didn't really want to pay for it. So at the time I joined to earn the new machine, and I'd planned on taking my new 3D and running. But I really enjoyed being a part of the team, sharing the Thermomix with everybody, doing something for myself, the commission, the incentives, and all of that. So here I am nearly 3 years later, still loving it. So tonight I'm going to make a risotto with you guys. I don't know about you, and those of you who have had a demo in the past, whether it be virtual or in home, have probably seen the risotto made, but it still blows my mind all these years later that, you know, something that can be so time consuming to make by hand can just be made so quickly and easily in under half an hour. So the recipe I'm going to use tonight is actually from the recipe community. So we're going to be using a feature of Cookie 3.0, which is our ability to import recipes from the recipe community. So those of you with a TM6, let us know in the chat box, are you using the import recipe feature of Cookie? Yeah, pop in the chat box and let us know. So I'm just going to go, I've got it, so I've already imported it from the recipe community and it's saved into my collections, and I've actually planned it into my week. So it is already there, ready to go. So I'm just going to hit start now. So this one is chicken, bacon, pumpkin and spinach risotto. So it's very similar to one that you get in a lot of restaurants, I think, and it tastes just as good and obviously so much cheaper to make. So I'm going to hit start cooking. So you will notice the guided cooking does look slightly different when you're using an imported recipe, but still walks you step by step, still has the built-in scales and your ingredients and all of that. So still super easy to use and so much easier than, you know, following a recipe on your phone or that kind of thing. So first it's just telling us to place our baby spinach leaves in the thermo server, which I have already done, so we can skip on past that. And into the bowl now, we are going to place 100 grams of Parmesan cheese. So I've just got my Parmesan cheese roughly chopped. So you've got a couple of options when you're in this imported recipe. I'm not sure if you can see clearly, but the ingredients are underlined. So I can either tap them or I can tap the scales down the bottom, and either way, it will bring up our scales and the ingredient list on the side as well. So into there, that's 100 grams of Parmesan. Just going to cross over there, and then it's got 10 seconds on speed 9. So again, you can tap that or tap the blade down the bottom. This will mute me out because we're using that really powerful function of the TM6 now to grate up that Parmesan. So 10 seconds on speed 9. And then cross out of that. Next on the side, I went too fast. And then it says just to place that in the thermo server. So we're just going to put that straight in that thermo server with the spinach, just ready to mix through once it's cooked. So that is that grated Parmesan in 10 seconds there. As that still blows my mind, as well as the risotto, that you can grate Parmesan so quickly and easily. Okay, so into there next, we're going to put 1 onion, just halved, so just straight in like that, and then 2 garlic cloves as well, just halved. It says a small bunch of parsley, so I'm not very particular with these kind of things, just pull off a bit. And then again, putting the lid back on, and now we've got a 3 seconds on speed 7. Again, so we'll show you. So that's that onion, garlic, and parsley all chopped in 3 seconds. Certainly not something any of us are doing by hand, is it? All right, so now we are placing in 50 grams of olive oil. And again, just using our scales in our TM6, we've got them accurate to 1 gram, whereas the TM5 is 5. So just watching that go up there. And then out. And then we've got 2 minutes, 100 degrees, and speed 1. So with the measuring cup off. So I'll just take that off and turn that to speed 1. So that's just going to kind of almost give that a little saute there for us, so onion and garlic with the olive oil and parsley. So obviously, again, we're hands-free now to do whatever else we like. So tell me, guys, those of you with a Thermomix, or even if you don't have one, are you making risottos? What's your favourite risotto to make? Pop in the chat box and let us know. This one I have been making for years, like since I had my TM5. We absolutely love it. The kids love it as well, which is a great win. But there are so many great risotto recipes on Cookidoo, and even in general. A pesto risotto, that sounds delicious, Em. And is anybody, any of those of you without Thermomix, is risotto something you're making by hand at the moment? Pop it in the chat box and let me know. You can hear that start to sizzle up there. You might be able to. A few different risottos coming in, mushroom, pumpkin. Is risotto something that you guys would buy if you went out at the moment? If you went out for dinner and a nice, pumpkin, chicken and baby spinach risotto was on the menu, how much do you think you would pay for something like that in a restaurant at the moment? Heaps of different. Yeah, 25 to 30, that's probably about right, Kerry. So when you're making something like this at home, you could probably expect to spend, with the chicken and spinach, pumpkin, all of those ingredients, probably under $3 a serve. So when you think about, the potential of buying that out instead, it's a huge money saver. And it makes such a huge amount too. We always have leftovers when we have risotto. Obviously, we do have the recipe scaling function of the Cookidoo as well now. So all these are relatively newer functions, the ability to import, recipe scaling. Like a few of you would know that the TM6 is, I suppose, upgrading and having new functions and features added all the time. And a few of these are Cookidoo related as well, which is amazing. All right, so that is done. So into there now, normally we would put some white wine. I just leave that out. I've got little kids, and so I just leave it out, and I just use a bit of water or stock. So 100 grams of wine, stock, whatever you would like to use in. And 200, oh no, sorry, can't read upside down, 320 grams of Oreo rice. So just tearing those scales after the water. And then down the bottom, it does have the bacon as well. So it has 2 to 3 pieces of bacon cut into strips, but you'll see, I'll show you in a second, that we actually add that towards the end of the cooking step of this one. So now we've got 2 minutes, 100 degrees. We reverse speed 1, and then it says to add the bacon for the last 20 seconds. So I'll put that on. So you might or may or may not be able to see the little reverse arrow underneath the 1 at the moment. So that is indicating that our blades are running in reverse at the moment. So it's got it set for us because we're in guided cooking. And that just means our blades are sharp on one side and blunt on the other. So when they're running in reverse, they're just stirring that arborio rice rather than chopping it at all, so we don't end up with any kind of mush, which obviously we don't want. So that is there. It's automatically activated in guided cooking, but if you needed to do it yourself, you're making a manual recipe, that's where to find it. And a quick little look at the chat box. Lots of different risotto recipes coming in there, or risotto flavours, I can see. So you will also notice that I am using my oval thermo server tonight. So that is another one of our host rewards. We saw the bread mats before with Grace, but we've also got our thermo servers, our oval and our round, and we even have the white one, which you can fit in your aroma to make yogurts, puddings, all kinds of different things. So they're all available as host rewards. And if you are interested in hosting your own cooking experience, whether it be virtual or in home, please reach out to your consultant. They would be more than happy to help you with that. We also have Cookie-Doo, a 12-month Cookie-Doo subscription for a limited time only, available until the end of August as a host reward as well. So that is a great way to prolong your Cookie-Doo subscription and save yourself $69 a year. And yeah, you're getting all these extra features like I've been talking about tonight. Any other new modes or upgrades that come into play will all be included in your Cookie-Doo subscription. So we've got about 20 seconds left on that. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat box. We will all answer them as we're going. Oh, I forgot to put my bacon in, too busy talking. Just wrap it in. All right, so then we're just going to next along, and now we're going to place in our chicken. So it's about 250 to 300 grams of chicken. I've already made that, so I'm just going to pop it straight in. 2 tablespoons of vegetable stock concentrate. So this is the vegetable stock that you're making with your Thermomix when you get your TM6 delivered. It's one that we make as one of the first things you cook with your delivery demo with your consultant. And that's another great money saver. And you know exactly what's in it as well, which is so important to us as well. And then we're going to add water to just under the 2 litre mark on the bowl. So I won't be able to really lift up and show you now, but the inside of your bowl has your markings for 1, 2 and 2.2 litres, which is the maximum on our TM6. So we're just going to add water to just around that 2 litre mark. And see upside down. And that is it. So now we're going to cook it for 18 minutes at 100 degrees, reverse again, and speed 1. So that's it. That's the hands-on time done. And we'll just let that cook away and we'll head on over to somebody else.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Erin. We're going to cut back to me. I'm actually going to share my screen with you. And the dish that I'm making is called a platted pork pie. But I also realized I've logged in as Erin for some reason. So on my typing and screen sharing says that I'm Erin. So sorry about that. But I did make a batch of the quick puff pastry, which we did want to show you tonight, but there's a couple of waiting phases in the quick puff pastry. So I thought I would record it for you. So I hope you can all see my screen okay. And I'm going to walk you through our quick puff pastry. So tell me, have you ever made puff pastry before? I'd love to know. Pop it in the chat. So we're going to go 200 grams of unsalted butter frozen. So I have just popped that in the freezer for about 10 minutes before starting the recipe. 200 grams of plain flour. I went a little bit over, so I'm just taking a little bit out. 90 grams of chilled water. So I've just got some water in a cup with some ice, and then half a teaspoon of salt. If you're anything like me, you won't measure, you'll just guess. And then literally 5 seconds on speed 6. And that is your puff pastry done. So it is literally 4 ingredients and 6 seconds, and that is the basis of your puff done. So then we're going to wrap pastry square in plastic wrap and place into the freezer, into the fridge. But you can see here it is quite crumbly. That is really normal. Pop a little bit of flour on your thermomat, twist your blades as Grace said before. And then it is normal for it to look like that. Don't freak out when it comes out in balls. I did the first time I made it, but you just push it all together. It is totally normal. That's the butter in the flour. Push it all together until you get a bit of a ball. And then we're just going to give it a little push down into a rough square, wrap it in our Thermomat and into the fridge for 20 minutes, as that step says there. So wrap pastry square in plastic wrap. I didn't need to put it in plastic wrap because I had my Thermomat, which is another great way to reduce your plastic waste and also money, because you don't need to be buying plastic wrap. And then if you have a TM6, you can set your timer function. So hit that button and set your timer for 20 minutes. And then we're going to get it out of the fridge and using a rolling pin, roll dough into a rectangle 3 times as long as it is wide, 60 by 20 centimeters. So this is where our Thermomat comes in handy again, because your Thermomat actually has measurements along the side. So you can see the length of the mat is 60 centimeters, and then you can measure that width as well. Pop a little bit of flour on it, even though they are non-stick mats. Pastry is quite sticky because of all that butter. So put some flour down first, make sure it's not sticking. And then you can see me doing a bit of a measure check there. So we want it about 20 centimeters wide by about 60 centimeters long. So 3 times as long as it is wide. Now you do have to put a bit of back into this one, give it a bit of a decent roll, a little bit more flour. And then when you've got it about that size that you want, roughly 60 by 20, we're going to fold it into thirds and give it a quarter turn to the left. So when you read the recipe, it says a quarter turn to the left. So we're just going to fold it over and turn it once. Then we're going to repeat. Roll, 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 and turn it again. A little bit more flour, and then we're going to do that rolling again. Now, this step of the rolling does get a little bit tricky because it's getting quite thick from all of the folding, but this is how you get your layers in your puff pastry. So we're folding, 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 rolling, 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 and that's creating those beautiful layers in our puff. So you've got to get those muscles into it. Push, push. This last one does get a little bit tricky. I always work up a bit of a sweat when I'm making puff. But same thing. And then we're just going to fold it again, and then we're going to wrap it up, and then we're going to put it into the freezer for 5 minutes. And that is literally how easy it is to make puff pastry. I just realized I didn't get mine out of the fridge. Sorry. I'm just grabbing it out now. But that's our puff pastry done. Just going to spotlight myself again. So it is a really simple thing to make. The longest part of making puff pastry is the 20 minutes that it needs to be in the fridge for, and then 5 minutes in the freezer. So you want to make it while you are doing something else. Yeah, looks a little bit like this. Now you can roll it out into whatever shape it is that you want it, and you can use it as you would the store-bought puff. Now, a cost breakdown of your puff pastry, if you are buying a block of butter, you're looking at about $4.75. If you were using the butter that you just made, like Josie did, say that you'd got on sale, or that you were using up some cream that was in the fridge, that will dramatically reduce that cost as well. But when you are buying puff pastry doesn't actually have any butter in it from the shops. It has flour, it has a lot of oil, and a lot of preservatives. There are, where's my list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different numbered preservatives in puff pastry from the supermarket, in the Pampers one, compared to the 4 ingredients in your homemade. So great for cost, and also great for the cutting out those nasties. But we're going to go into our weekly planner, and I'm going to go into our platted pork pie, which is my next dish to go with my pastry. So I'd love to know, has anyone made the platted pork pie before? Pop it in the chat and let me know. So we're going to hit that start cooking button, preheat our oven to 220. I didn't have it quite hot enough. There we go. And then set tray aside 30 by 40 centimeters. And then it wants us to pop some spring onions in, which I've got here. So just some roughly chopped. And with this recipe, I actually like to add some extra veggies in it. So I've got some carrot here, chopped roughly, and I've got a whole zucchini. Now, the good thing about putting the zucchini and the carrot in is that this stretches your recipe to go even further without having to buy more meat. So the carrot and zucchini cost me $1. If I was going to buy it was about 400 grams of veg. If I was going to buy 400 grams of pork, that would cost me around $6. So that is a great way to bulk up your meals without having to spend more money. So we've got 3 seconds on our timer to chop the spring onion, but because I've got carrot and zucchini, I've just added 2 more seconds. We're going to go around to speed 6. So we've just blitzed up those veggies. So I'd love to know, are you putting some veggies in your meals to reduce your meat or to add extra goodness, whatever it may be? So in 5 seconds, we've chopped down that zucchini and that carrot. If you've got fussy children or adults in your house that don't like veggies, you can peel your zucchini first, or you can blitz it again for another 2 or 3 seconds to make it smaller. But I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So really great way to reduce the cost of your grocery bill is to, bulk things up with veggies. Lentils, beans is another good one, but I do like to use the veggies. So then it wants 500 grams of pork sausages removed from casings. So I've just bought a packet of the Woolies pork sausages. If you run a knife down the front, then that casing just, you can see me doing that, peels away like this. And you literally just peel that sausage casing off like that, and then you've got your pork mince here. So we're going to go in with 500 grams. I've got 600 grams because that's what came in a packet. So I'm not going to waste that last one. I am just going to do that little bit extra. I'm just going to wash my hands. All right. And then we're going to go in with a teaspoon of dried thyme. Again, I don't like to measure. We're just doing a guesstimate, and some dried parsley as well. Dried herbs is another great way to reduce your grocery bill instead of using fresh. This recipe asks for dried, but if you get one that asks for fresh, don't be afraid to sub for dry. It is much cheaper. 20 grams of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire, however you want to say it. And then we're going to pop our lid on. And we've got 5 seconds on our timer, and we're going to go reverse speed 4 to combine all of that. So we're just going to check that because I did add all those extra veggies. I want to make sure it has combined. Now that hasn't quite combined, so I'm just going to scrape it down. And I'm just going to hit that back button. And I'm just going to put the lid on, and I'm just going to repeat the same thing. So when we are adding extra things to our dishes, sometimes you will need a couple of extra seconds for time. And then next again. Better. So we have mixed that up really nicely. Combine all those veggies with those sausages or that pork mince. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now it says place puff pastry 25 by 40 centimeters onto a sheet of baking paper and transfer onto baking tray. So this is where you're going to bring back your puff that you have made. I did just see in the comments that someone said they've never made puff, but now they're going to seeing how easy it was. And it really is that easy, honestly, and it tastes so much better. When you make puff for the first time, you will never go back to store-bought. Store-bought it doesn't taste very nice at all because it doesn't have any butter in it. The butter is what gives the puff the flavor. So I need it about 25 by 40 centimeters. Again, a little bit of flour on your Thermomat because it is quite sticky from all that butter. So, and I might even make it a little bit bigger because I've actually got the extra veggies in there. So I've got more filling than what the recipe says. So remembering on your Thermomat, you've got your measurements along the side. So what do I need? 40. I'm probably going to go about 50, I reckon. So to about here by 25. Now, because this is quite cold from being in the fridge, it's that little bit harder to roll again. As the butter softens, it does get easier. So again, just put a little bit of muscle into it until you're happy with the size. We're essentially making like a giant sausage roll here. Another great thing about this recipe, because we've made extra, the standard recipe serves 4. So I'm going to say we're going to get at least 6 out of this. There is only 4 of us in my house, which means I could cut a little bit of this puff down and I could make some single sausage rolls, and that could be lunches for the kids or for my hubby, myself, for the week as well. So in that cost breakdown, which I'll give you in a sec, of our total dish, it actually can work out even cheaper than that because you can get lunches on top of dinners, which is great. So I'm not doing a very good job at rolling it into a rectangle, but that's all right. A few funny bits there, but we're going for the rustic, authentic look, right? So when you're happy with it, with your length, I think that looks pretty good. What we're going to do now is we are going to take our filling, and actually I'm going to get my tray. I think my tray's not big enough now. I've made it even bigger. That's all right. All right, so onto my tray. Got my rose gold tray and one of my liners. Again, another great way to save money by not buying baking paper, foil, things like that. And then we're just going to place sausage mixture down the center of the pastry, approximately 8 centimeters in width and 30 centimeters in length. So I've got more than that, so I'm going to do mine a little bit bigger. Let's see how much that made. So just going to go something like this. All right, and then just going to wash my hands again. We are just going to go along with a dough scraper or your spatula. You can use a knife if you don't have a baking mat under there. We're going to cut our pastry into strips about 2 centimeters wide. Bit tricky because of my tray. So we just want to be cutting them into a little bit. I'm going to use a knife very carefully so I don't cut my tray liner. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to plait these over each other and create a really cool looking dish. On this side, same thing. So the cost breakdown of this dish, if you were making your own puff pastry with store-bought butter, you are going to be looking at about $12.75 with those veggies added in. And if you were going to use some butter that you got on sale that you've made, or some cream that you had in the fridge that was going to go to waste anyway, I'm going to fold over the end there. $12.75 or cheaper, maybe $8 or $9 if the butter was less. So $12.75, and it feeds 4 to 6. The original one feeds 4, so I think you could safely say this is going to feed 6 because of that extra that we have put in. So then we're literally going to crisscross these over, and you want them to be touching each other. Just like this, follow your way along. But what a cheap meal that is. Like, that works out to about $2, $2.20 a serve when you're looking at the 6 serves. So if you had that in your meal, if you had your risotto, which worked out to about $3 a serve, we're making some really cheap meals here. And then our pizza came to about $1.20 for for 4 bases. And then your toppings. So we're saving money everywhere. So there we have our plaited pork pie, which I am going to quickly brush with a bit of egg, and that one's going to go into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And we are going to cut back over to Grace, I think. Let me just check. No, we're going to, we might just cut back to Grace if that's all right. Sorry, Josie, I'm going to spice it up a little bit. We're going to cut back to Grace, and we'll see you soon.
Hello. Well, I'm going to quickly run and grab my dough because that's the next step. So bear with me for a second.
Sorry, Grace. I just thought time-wise, that gives you time to get it in the oven.
Yeah, no, absolutely fine. Good thing it's not far away. So I've just had this proving in my mat. So we'll just get it open and have a look. So that had, not very long at all, and it's already starting to rise and get nice and fluffy and big. So the great thing again about this pizza recipe is it doesn't require a lot of proving time, which is awesome. If you're in a rush, you can, quickly get the dough on, leave it to prove, and then go and do whatever you need to do before dinner time. So one thing I'm going to show you tonight, though, is with the Thermomix, is the brand new Thermomix cutter. Who got one, and who is excited to get one of these in their kitchen with their Thermomix? Have you seen them before? Pop in the chat box, let me know. So as consultants, we had the opportunity to earn these earlier in the year, but if you sign up as a consultant and sell 3 Thermomixes in your first 60 days, you have the chance to earn a cutter and blade cover peeler as well. So these are really, really cool. A few people wanting them, amazing. You will absolutely love them. So basically, you've got this really cool little bowl. So I have not washed my bowl after the pizza dough, so it's just still all messy. But basically, you pop the bowl in there so that everything that you grate goes into that. And I just realized I did not put my shaft in. So I'll pop that in. Again, it just sits on top of your blades like, you know, most of the other accessories like your butterfly whisk. Just sit it in there. And that's going to be what your blades clip into. So then you put your bowl in. And then you've got your chute here. So it looks a bit like a food processor, I think, and your little pusher to get the food down. And then underneath is where all the magic happens. This is the blades. So on one side, you've got your grating mechanism, and on the other side, you've got the slicing mechanism. So we're going to be using the grating one first for our cheese. So I'm going to put that facing up so that when I pop things down the chute, it obviously grates it. That in there, so that just clips in like that. And I need to turn my Thermomix on again. So the key with the cutter is to make sure that you are cutting things down to the size that are going to fit through the chute, firstly, because you don't want to be shoving things down and it getting stuck. And then the other really important thing to do is a lot of people will have the blades running, and obviously your grater will be spinning around in your Thermomix. You really want the blades, you really want the food to be in there and the blades to start up, because otherwise your food is going to bounce around in there and you're going to get lots of little bits and pieces that are being chopped with it. So we want to make sure the blades are stationary before we pop stuff in. So on your Thermomix TM6, and I'll see if I can move you a bit closer because I know you'll probably want to see this up a little bit closer. Is it going to work? Turn the lights down a little bit. Not so much light. Is it going to work? No. I'll see if I can get you on the bench because it is really good if you can see this. But on the Thermomix TM6, we've actually got the slicing and grating modes. Which really takes the thinking out of it for you. So let me get you closer. I'll just take my computer off here. That's better. Okay, so you've got your grater and your slicer. We're going to go into grating, and I'm just going to go for a thick grate initially. So we've got thick and thin, and we're going to spin all the way down to the thick one. So before we do that, I'll pop my cheese in. So we're going to go into the largest side of our chute, and I'm going to put my little pusher in, and then we're going to turn it to the thick mode. So you'll see when I do this, I'm not putting a lot of weight on, I'm just guiding the pusher down. So we'll go thick, lock it in. Okay, push the stop, and that's grated that one. We'll pop the next one in. So again, we're going to go thick. And it's done. How fast is that? It's going to release. And now I'll show you what we've come up with. Turn that one upside down. And then in here, you've got your cheese all grated. So that was so quick and easy. So certainly if you're wanting to make sandwiches for the kids' lunches, you can use the slicer setting on that. But for this particular one, obviously this is the grating. We're going to be popping it into our pizzas and scrolls. I'll turn it around. So I'm going to empty my cheese back out onto my plate, and I'm going to show you a few other different things with it. But we're going to swap over to our slicer now. So for the slicer, we're going to flip our blade over. Little bits of cheese that didn't quite make it. Okay, we'll have our slicing action up. All right, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pop some ham in. We'll try first. Okay, and I'm going to go thick for this one again. Make sure my push is the right way around. And it's done. It is very impressive. The grater slicer is insanely amazing. So I was a bit unsure about it when it first came out, but certainly for any sort of prep work, you know, if you've got people coming around to make pizzas, it's a great little thing to have on your bench, just to sort of decrease the time that you are cutting and chopping. Then I've got my ham all chopped up. So obviously, depending on how you pop the food into different, you know, the different sides, so things like apples and stuff, you'll get different shapes depending on obviously how you pop it through the shooter. But for pizzas, that is perfect. Now, I was going to do mushroom as well, but I think for time, and you've sort of seen how this works now, for time, I'll just jump over and do my pizza dough. Now, I am fully a convert when it comes to my Thermomix and pizza. So we have also, as consultants, had the opportunity to earn the pizza oven. Has anyone seen the pizza ovens around? So the pizza oven that we have on our mix shop can cook your pizza in 90 seconds. So again, to save yourself time and get that beautiful wood-fired pizza flavour, the pizza oven is insane. But for the sake of tonight's demonstration, I'm just going to do it obviously in the oven. Cutter. So you saw Chelsea had the little green scraper. I have the dough cutter, which again is on the mix shop. And I'm just going to show you 3 different ways to use your pizza dough up. So if you're making pizzas at home, when I'm doing my pizza oven pizzas, will cut it into 4. If you're doing it in the oven, I recommend cutting it into 3, just because you get a better amount of dough, like thickness of your pizzas. For tonight, I'm going to be showing you how to do, obviously, a pizza. So these mats, as you saw with Chelsea, with the puff pastry, they have the guides. They also have the circle guides for your pizzas. So you can get pretty close to perfect shaped pizzas just by rolling it out on your Thermomat. And you can also get the size and everything perfect as well, obviously, with the circles and the measurements. So you can be consistent with the look of your pizzas at home. So we'll roughly do that, and I'm going to pop it onto my tray. So these are on the mix shop. Again, another one of my favourite products, the rose gold bakeware with the liners. I never have to think about using baking paper at home. I just always use my liners. I know that the trays are prepped and ready to go. So what I'll do is I'll show you the versions first, and then I'll assemble the pizzas. So another way to do something with your pizza dough, I often do this if I have leftover dough. So we'll, you know, often have that one pizza base left that we haven't got room for. So what you can also do is make it into scrolls for the kids' lunches. So just maximizing, you know, the ingredients that you have and the things that you've been making at home. So again, for scrolls, you just basically roll it out into somewhat of a rectangle. Has anyone made scrolls from their pizza dough or made scrolls from home? I'm not sure how much they go for at Vando's. I haven't done my full research like Chelsea, but do you guys make or buy pizza scrolls at home? Right, so with this one, I'm going to grab my spoon. I will actually show you, because I'll show you how to roll it. So we're just going to pop some sauce on. Now I'm just going to do a Hawaiian. My kids love Hawaiian, so we're just going to do that. But you can absolutely do like a Vegemite and cheese if you want, or, you know, sweet or savoury, whatever you like. So you just sort of do that, and then we're going to pop our pineapple on. Just fairly even around there. Put some ham on, so the ham that we just grated. Now with scrolls, I do find if you do a thicker coating of your ingredients, it's much better than a thinner one, because you're rolling it up. They tend to spread out a bit, so you really want to make sure you're getting all that flavour in there. And just cheese like this. And then you're going to get, and this is the other great thing about your Thermomat, it's perfect for making scrolls. You're going to get your Thermomat, and I'm just going to move some of these bits and pieces. And you're going to roll the long side. So let me put my camera down so you can see, because I just noticed that was not very easy for you guys to see. So we're going to get the long side, and we're just going to use the mat to sort of guide the ingredients so we can get a nice even roll. I don't know if you can see that, just sort of pulling it. Okay. And then when you've got it nice and consistent, roll it like that. And again, this is where this particular cutter is great. Just going to cut your pizzas now. Now you can pop this just straight in the oven, depending on how you're going with time. But if you do have a little bit of extra time, you can pop them onto your baking tray and then leave them to prove for a little bit. And then that will make them extra light and fluffy as well. So just like that. The great thing with dough is it's really important that when you are wanting them to prove on a tray is to put them nice and close together, because then they're going to use each other to sort of, grow into each other and give you that big, light and fluffy dough that you're chasing. So we've got pizza scrolls there. And then the very last way or version that I'm going to show you is a calzone. So this is, again, if you are, wanting to do a bit of a variation for people at home, maybe people don't like scrolls, you can be quite versatile with how you use your dough up. So I'm just going to roll it into a rough rectangle. I'm going to cut it into 4. And then do the same thing. So I'll just do one to show you. Basically, it's like a little pizza pocket for the kids. With a bit of pineapple on that one. Bit of cheese. And some. Okay, and then what I like to do is I haven't got my water here. I'll just go with a little bit of water. And you just want to seal the pocket so it doesn't come open in the oven. So I'm just going to go around the edge with a bit of water and then fold over. And then you've got your little pizza pocket. So while I finish the rest of those things, again, pop in the chat if you liked a particular thing there, you haven't made something that I showed you. But yeah, it can be very versatile. Obviously, we did Hawaiian flavors, but you just can pop in whatever leftovers you have at home. So again, if you're left with capsicum, mushrooms, bits and pieces, just throw it all in. And yeah, it's a great way to use up things so that they don't go to waste. And the dough, as you saw, is super easy to make, which is amazing. So let's jump over to who's next.
Me. Hi guys, everything's already looking so good, but here is our spreadable butter. It is so good, and I took the liberty of doing a taste test for you. So I compared it to some Duck River, and I have to say it tastes just as good, if not better. But now we are on to our last thing that I'm going to be cooking, which is yogurt. I just don't want to know, does your fridge look like this? Because this is exactly how mine looks like. And I was shocked when we were doing the prep for this class about how much I was spending on yogurt. So at the moment, my kids are only eating these yogurts, which are $2.40 at the shop. So I worked out they're having at least one each a day. So about 14. So we were spending about $33 of yogurt a week. So I'm going to show you now. We're going to do the pot set plain yogurt. So I worked out the costing of this. So we've only got some natural sugar, natural yogurt. And if you're making yogurt, you can just use this from the previous batch, some sugar and some milk. And the costing for this was about $4. So even if we did 2 batches, $8, we would be saving, I don't know, about $22 if we made our yogurt, or maybe even like $25. So at the moment, with 36 months interest free, you would easily be able to pay off your Thermomix if you were just making yogurt alone. But I'm going to show you how we're going to do this recipe because it's one of the quickest yogurt recipes anyway. So it is the pot set plain yogurt. So we're just going to go to start. So we need 120 grams of our natural yogurt. So yeah, if you are making yogurt at home, this is going to be free because it's going to be from the previous batch. And let me know in the chat if you have made yogurt in your Thermomix or if you are going to try. And also, I want you to just have a quick little estimate. If you have kids like us, I want you to try and work out how much you would be spending a week on yogurt. So we have got our yogurt in there. I am going to go 800 grams of cream milk. That's fair. 800 grams. And then we have got 40 grams of white sugar. And that is optional as well. But so if you didn't have that, it would be more like a kind of Greek yogurt. And I think with the yogurt, it's kind of the same with the Thermomix. Like the more you use it, the more confident you'll be able to get, like, feel to add different flavors. So I know Chelsea makes like a protein yogurt with protein powder. I know people have experimented with like dairy-free, the coconut yogurts. So we are just going to mix this up for 30 seconds. Yeah, so if you were making yogurt, I think you could get quite experimental with the flavor. In a minute, I'm going to show you some yogurts that I have made yesterday, and have a look at them. So I made some dairy composite for it as well. So we've got this mixing for 14 seconds. And we are going to put it into these little jars. So these are the little yogurt jars on the mix shop. So these are $24.95 for a pack of 8. And they're great because they fit perfectly in the varoma. So we have just mixed that up. Normally when we're going to be doing this, our next step is to heat it up. So you would heat this up to 37 degrees and then pour it into your yogurt tins, yogurt containers. But if you are using long life milk, you can skip that step as well because it's already heat treated. I'm just going to skip this step at the moment and pour it because we are out of time. So I don't know if you want to go to the next while I pour this because I feel like I'm not very good at these like little fiddly things. And then you can check back in with me when I've got it all in the varoma.
I think we'd rather watch you try to pour it. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, great. I was like, literally, I need to get my little jam bottle. Okay.
Look at you, you're doing great. That is fabulous. Awesome, Josie. We'll come back to you to see your finished yogurt in just a minute. And guys, we have run a couple of minutes over time, but we are just finishing up now. We're just going to go around and show you our last few things. Back over to you, Erin.
All right, so my risotto is finished. So I think those of you who do make risotto will know this already, hopefully. But for those of you who don't yet have a Thermomix or haven't tried risotto, the most important thing when it comes to having the perfect risotto is that at the end of cooking time, it will still be quite liquidy. So you really need to, this has been sitting for a few minutes, so it's starting to thicken up now and absorb the rest of that water. But when it's finished cooking, yeah, there will be quite a bit of liquid still in the bowl and it will look, to start with, like it's not finished cooking. Don't be concerned and don't add any extra cooking time. Don't be tempted to add any extra cooking time because you will overcook it and that will be when you're left with a gluggy mess. So it just needs to sit and thicken. It can do it in the bowl or it can do it in the thermo server. Either or is perfect. But yeah, just don't add that extra cooking time that you might be tempted to. All right, so I'm just adding in some pumpkin as well. So yeah, this is a chicken and pumpkin risotto. You've got a couple of options with your pumpkin. I like to roast it. I think it just gives you just some beautiful flavour to add to it. But you can steam it in your varoma as well if you prefer. So we're just going to add that to the thermo server. You're going to see how big a server this makes in a minute because we're going to run out of space. Yeah, so adding that in, we've already got the baby spinach and the parmesan in there. And then we're just going to pour in that risotto and mix it. So, I don't know, can you see that all right? So it still is a little bit liquidy, but it's starting to thicken up now. I'm going to have to do it in 2 little batches there and mix it up a little bit. So, and that is it really. So if you want to flick over to someone else while I mix it all together, I can come back with the final.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That means we will cut back to me. And my pie has just beeped at me. I'm just going to get my gloves. Oh, it's crackling away nicely. You know, that like pastry cooking sound. And here we have a platted pork pie. So that is a delicious, really fast. You guys saw how fast that was. Even making that puff, it was still a really quick hands-on time. It was absolutely beautiful. And like, look at that pastry. You will not get that puff from store-bought pastry. I can't recommend highly enough making your own puff. It is a game changer. The taste is just 1,000 times better, and you saw those costings work out really well as well. But $12 for that dish, cheaper if you make your own butter, so you know, $8, $9. Again, you could make that into some lunches as well, or use that as leftovers. So really versatile, great family meal, no additives, lots of hidden veggies as well, and smells amazing. This will be my family's dinner for tomorrow night, which is a win. One of the things I love about what we do when we do our virtual classes and demos, we do get to eat the food the next day. So I am working and also feeding my family. Isn't that amazing? Fabulous. Grace, how are your pizzas going in the oven? Do they still need a little bit longer?
Yeah, they do need a little bit longer. But
right.
Yeah.
We'll jump back to Josie for a minute. All good.
Hello, sorry, I'm eating my bread and butter. But my yogurts are in the Varoma. I'm going to take you up here and show you. So here are your yogurts in the Varoma, and you've got 250 grams of water in there, and you need to put some lemon or some ascorbic acid in there, so just so that the blades don't rust. I think if you're going over 4 hours, you need to do that. But it's obviously all in the recipe. But here are the yogurts I made yesterday. So I made like a little berry Kool-Aid. It was just out of strawberries. A packet of strawberries, which was $3, and I bought some of those like Gippsland yogurts yesterday, which are like the delicious yogurt with the berry composite, and they were $3. So I made, how much were these? I made 8 of these yogurts for how much? I think $7. $7 with everything, with the fruit and the yogurt. So such a saving there. Like, and I had 8, but I have not been able to stop eating them, and I don't even like yogurt. So these are really delicious. I'm going to put you on the stand and show you how they actually look. I can scoop these out as well. Sorry, everything's so fiddly on these little things. I'm just going to get a spoon and show you how good they look.
Yogurt is just such a versatile thing to make. Someone asked about coconut yogurt, and there is a great coconut yogurt recipe on Cookie as well. As Josie said, protein yogurt. I've made a soy protein yogurt too.
Look how good this looks. So, how am I going to scoop this out? So it's literally kind of like a Greek, not Greek. It's like, it literally is like this Gippsland yogurt that I had yesterday. So good, really good. So these are going to ferment overnight for 10 hours, and in the morning I am going to have buckets of yogurt. So Chelsea is making dinner. I am just making kilos of yogurt in the house.
I love it. You're going to turn into yogurt, but you're going to have some happy kids as well. Thank you so much, Josie. I just wanted to quickly show you guys as well. Here I've got some of the reusable pouches. So this is what I make my yogurt in. So I made the plain pot set yogurt this morning for the kids. I did add some vanilla bean to it to flavor it a little bit. But I use these cherub baby pouches. I buy mine on eBay, and you can buy 20 for around $22. And they are reusable. We get probably about a year out of them. You just rinse them. They go through the dishwasher. And this is another great way to stop buying the pouches. As Josie said, like, they're so expensive. So doing it this way is brilliant. Happy family there, but look how thick and beautiful that yogurt is.
And that is better because they are cleaner. I feel like I don't want my kids eating these pots, but yeah, so I'm going to get some of the reusable pouches.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, when you do the pouches, I double the recipe because the pouches are skinny. You can fit 14 pouches into the Varoma at one time, so you can double the recipe. So I get like 10 days worth of yogurt for the kids instead of just getting, a couple of days worth at 2 each. So yeah. Fabulous. All right. Well, Erin, how did we go stirring that giant risotto?
Yeah, great. I made a big mess. These oval thermos, I think are they 2.5 litres, Shell?
2.5, yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see, that is full to the brim of risotto. So it makes a huge amount, enough to feed easily 6, I would say. And yeah, perfect. It's starting to thicken up perfectly now. So that really good risotto consistency. It's not bluggy and delicious. So yeah, our dinner tomorrow night as well, which is great.
Love it. That looks brilliant. Thank you so much, Erin. We've just had a couple of questions come through, so I'll just answer them while Grace is getting her pizzas out. So yes, you ferment these in the pouches as they are. So you pour your liquid, as Josie did, into your pouch, and then they go straight into the varoma like that. So a massive time saver there. A few people ask if you could do chicken or beef in the pie. Would it be suitable? And I think it absolutely would translate quite nicely. I'd probably add some garlic because the sausage mince is going to have a little bit more flavour. And I think that was all our questions. Awesome. Lots of great positive feedback around the yogurt there. Grace, how are you doing?
I was going to say, I'm probably not quite ready, but I will show you because I know that time is of the essence. But normally, if we were cooking this in the pizza oven, it would absolutely be done by now. It would be done in 90 seconds. But I will just show you how they're going for the sake of it. So I've got my pizza pockets there. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 pizza scrolls and a full pizza there. So again, obviously for the sake of tonight, I was demonstrating different ways to do it all. But, you know, if you're wanting to make lunch for the kids, I would often make up a Hawaiian pizza for the kids for lunch and then have that leftover dough. So you could absolutely convert that into scrolls and you've got snacks, you know, lunchbox snacks, morning tea, whatever it is for the next day as well. And, you know, you've got the option of doing it as a pizza pocket as well. So many different ways to do it. I'm a firm believer, and I'm going to put this hot tray down, but I'm a firm believer in utilizing things to the absolute max. So like if you do have leftover dough and you don't feel like making it, don't throw it out. Make pizza scrolls, make calzones, reinvent the things that you have. Again, if you don't have the exact ingredients I have tonight, look in your fridge and see what's in there. We also make really yummy dessert pizzas as well. So if you have a little bit of Nutella or some berries in the freezer, throw them in and, you know, make a nice dessert up for you as well if you've had pizza night. Lots of different ways to save money, and obviously using all things that you've already got in your pantry as well is, you know, another great way to save money as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Grace. You can pop those back into the oven. Sorry to make you get those out. Now, if you would like to see the finished result for that one, you can follow Grace on Instagram. She is Life by Grace. Is Grace, just correct me if I'm wrong, Life by Grace with underscores. Did I say that right? Yeah, great. You can follow Josie at Cooking with Josie. You can follow Erin, thermo_loving_mum, and you can follow me at Mixing It Real. If you would like any more information about anything that we covered tonight, please reach out to your consultant or to one of us. We would love to answer that for you. Our Sparkling Black Thermomix is limited. We do only have a handful of them available. They will be up for sale until the first week of September unless they sell out sooner. So if you have been thinking about, please do it. You will not regret it. It is so much better in person. If you would like a cooking experience or a demo to see the Sparkling Black or the Classic White, please reach out to your consultant or again to one of us because we would love to tee you up with someone that can help you out with that. We do have our gift with purchase, which is the glider board, which you heard us talking a lot about tonight, and a $140 Mix Shop voucher as well. We do also have 36 months interest free, which is actually ending tomorrow, I think at midday. Anyone correct me if I'm wrong there. And that brings your Thermomix down to just $18 a week. So we've been talking so much about saving money. You know, we showed you how you could make some really cost-effective main dishes, how to save money with things like butter, your staples, those pizzas, how you could do it into multiple different dishes. And of course, yogurt is a huge money saver as well. So if you start doing a couple of those things in a Thermomix, you will save much more than $18 a week, which means your Thermomix will be paid for and you will still be saving money, which is just incredible. Also, if you watched us tonight and you thought, I could do what they're doing, I could feed my family while I'm working, it's probably because you could. And we would love to chat to you about the possibility of joining one of our beautiful teams. We all absolutely love what we do. We love supporting our teams and our customers and would love to chat to you about coming along to join us. We really do have so much fun. I love that I'm able to work with different team leaders and consultants and do these things together. We work as a really big team, even though we are small teams. So please reach out to one of us because we'd love to chat to you about that. I think that's everything that I wanted to say. Thank you so much for coming along. We hope we showed you how you can save money with a Thermomix. Again, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat box, reach out to your consultant, or shoot one of us a message on Instagram, because we would love to help you out with that. And a huge thank you to Josie, Grace, and Erin. I really appreciate them giving up their time to cook with me tonight. So thank you so much, ladies. And if you'd like to say anything, I will stop talking now.
No, thank you so much for coming, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully it helps reduce your grocery bill.
Absolutely. Well, that is us done. Thank you so much, everybody. And we will see you at our next cooking class, or at your next cooking experience, or when you join our team. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.